So hi, welcome to one of the Gauntlet Hangouts. I'm super excited about this one because we're playing BALIKBAYAN, Returning Home, a game that's currently in beta that I'm working on. And I'm so happy to play with the Gauntlet community because everyone here is super awesome, super sweet. And so what we'll do first is we'll start by briefly introducing our characters that we spent some time working on that I'm excited for you to meet. So we'll start in. Are we okay with going in playbook order or?
Yeah. Sure. Yes.
But just keep it brief. You don't have to go through over everything. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong tab. Here we go with our characters.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Bethany. I'm playing Ava, the TIKBALANG, who is a kind of a shapeshifter who can transform into various animals and who has sort of a control over hollow animals in a way. Their human form is something soft and dangerous. Not sure exactly how that is, but that's definitely how they are. And their goal is to, or they hope to free one of the enslaved, who is the machinist who helped us disconnect from the mainframe and then got pulled in herself.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I just realized when you mentioned the hollow animals, like, what if it's connected to the... That's why you're so mad at the memory hunters, because it's kind of like, right? Because like you're sort of using the memories of the animals, but you're not... Anyway, sorry, we were talking about... We're getting excited
again.
That's
really cool.
Yeah, very awesome. Everybody had so many cool ideas during character and setting generation. I'm so excited. Okay, and next let's go to... I realized I should talk a little more about what BALIKBAYAN is. I'm so nervous. So BALIKBAYAN Returning Home is a cyberpunk belonging outside belonging game, but it uses, or the core of it is supernatural folklore from the Philippines, reimagined for the cyberpunk setting. And so all of us are playing elementals who are on the run. The elementals are beings of pure magic who were enslaved by the Corp. We are trying to bring about the rebirth of magic before the Corp can catch up to us. But we also have... So we're trying to set up a revolution, but we also have our individual hopes and dreams. So we'll see how that plays out. And then next, let's listen from our saint, played by Puckett.
Kind of a weird. I'm not sure anybody's ever actually referred to me as a saint before, but hi, I'm Puckett, he, him. I am playing Eduardo Abayan, who is also he, him, and is playing the role of the saint in this game. And his goal is to encourage people to become their own gods and set themselves free. And in the process, bring honor to ancestors and, well, liberate as much as he can.
Very cool. Yeah, I love that so much. There was something you mentioned earlier that I really like, that he smells like sandalwood and... was it chocolate?
Sandalwood and hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate. Oh, even better. I like that a lot. So very, very warm presence in our community. Okay, and then next let's hear from Leandro, who's playing Marisol.
I thought I was muted there. Hi, I'm Leandro, use he and pronouns. I'm playing Marisol, our Santelmo. Use she, her pronouns. I pitched her as what if Lane from Serial Experiments. Lane grew up and is still sad, is now full of hollow ghosts. Yeah, she's full of them. So she kind of like is a walking sort of like flickering bridge between the underworld and the living world. Most of the time, she wears big coats and hides behind glasses full of dancing code. But most of that's to keep a lid on all these stories and fragments and memories and just voices that's kind of like filtered into her. It's kind of like slowly changed her into this flickering hollow ghost with like different forms and ideas, and it's fragmented her to the point where she barely kind of like she has like an inkling, a decent inkling of who she is, but it's always hard to tell. And she's kind of been slowly piecing that together, and hopefully this rebellion would help her find her way to a past. She's getting there. She's found some connections to our saint. She's found a memory of a human lover in a moment of intimacy that she kind of didn't realize she was able to have. So that was nice to that was nice to discover that. And yeah, she's sad, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I love this concept so much. Serial Experiments Lane is like one of my favorites. And then let's move on to Reina, who's being played by Diana Roy.
Hola, as I go by Diana online, I use she, her, and I am playing the duende named Reina because that's obviously a very grounded name, being a queen. And she also uses she, her. Her human form tends to be kind of always a bit in shadows, tall, huge headphones, much bigger than they need to be, honestly, and dark eyes when you can actually see her eyes. Her true form is, the way I described it, is like the very tiny drones that were shown in, I believe, Shanghai for the New Year's, where they make dancing lights and they flicker around and they can create shapes and kind of like make a bit of noise. And despite the fact that we're all kind of like trying to like stay away from being enslaved again, she kind of doesn't care. So she switches back and forth between her human form and her actual form because she believes she can blend in a bit better into the city in either form. And her goal really is just to create a school for artists and engineers to have a safe place to create more beautiful and grand things, because we still have it in ourselves to do such things, not just the war that happened, the rebellion and everything. And she's really close to someone who I like to say is almost like the Ancient Aliens guy, if you know that reference, but not as out there and a little bit more grounded into reality, to help her like piece together a bit of that, like the way it was before we got colonized kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, now I'm imagining a cyberpunk version of the aliens guy. Just like, we have to have the same like hair. We'll just make it like a cyberpunk color, like cyan or something. Or there we go. Yeah, just a neon bird hair in the chat. I super agree.
Yes.
Awesome. I love it.
It's all wild because she keeps getting electrocuted.
Yeah. I like it. Okay. And then so those are our characters, our brave rebels who are fighting back against the Corp. Very briefly, I want to talk about the city that we've created together, that we've chosen from the options here and laid out beautifully. So I'm also kind of keen on just calling it the city. Like, I just like the idea of it being like the city, the Corp, unless we have a name that we're attached to or that will come up in play later. We'll see. But for now, we'll just call it the city. And so in this city of ours, we have secret gardens. So in abandoned apartments, away from the windows, people are setting up mirrors so that light comes through and lights up these gardens. I kind of feel like, because for example, I live in an apartment where we're not allowed to have plants in any form. I have one plant that's surviving out there, but it's illegal. So like, I'm wondering if like the reason the gardens are secret are like illegal in some way, like they're not allowed. It was Bethany who came up with this wonderful idea. So how do you feel about that? Like,
yeah, I like the idea. Maybe they're growing something that is illegal, or okay. So they're growing, I mean, it's just mostly just food plants. There's probably some drugs in there too, but it's mostly just food plants. But it's food plants that like weren't sold by the corporation, because these are maybe the same people who are justifiably paranoid about the internet. And like maybe there are rumors, whether it's true or not, that like the seeds you get from the corporations have some kind of tracking in them.
Ooh.
like they're
I love-
nanite seeds, you know. And
yeah. Awesome. I love this horrible future. This horrible dystopic future we've built together. Okay, awesome. All right. And then we also have a robot caretaker who's taking care of these gardens. We also have glimpses of a brighter future. So the presence of our elementals sort of acts like an antivirus. It's helping the area the longer that the elementals stay in one place. It's a little less dark, a little less brutal. There are acts of kindness that happen more often. So we know that it's important what we're fighting for, that real change can happen. And our city also has remnants of war in it. There are destroyed buildings that are bombed out, abandoned weaponry and machinery that were used for war. There are zones that are present that the Corp and the city have sort of given up on. You can use these zones as shortcuts, but they're dangerous. We also have unexploded ordnance. There's like a small town that's built around it. We have Jason with a 0 because it's cyberpunk. Jason, who we will play out and see what they're like, who screws around with the duds a bit. And we also have repurposed robots, like huge robots that were part of the war that have been powered down, most of them, but some of them have been repurposed and they have to be hacked over and over again to continue helping these people who live on the fringes outside of the Corp's control. And we also have mazes of lights and sound, which are sectioning off parts of the city. These lights and buildings funnel the citizens in what the Corp and the government wants people to look at. It was put in place after the war, and it's always updated by the latest trends. I always hate saying things like updated by the latest trends. I feel like I feel so dirty, but it's true. And we also have a sentient smog, like it's a nanoswarm of some kind. It's a remnant of the war as well. So soldiers were uploaded to this cloud or smog. They completely lost their identity or sense of self. And there is a technovirus that still pulls people into the smog every so often. So we'll see what happens when our elementals may have to interact with this smog. I'm sure only nice things will happen, only good things. And so these are some of the troubles that we picked out. So we have hollow ghosts. I'm very excited about this because we have a SANTELMO on the team. So hollow ghosts are rarely seen, but it's sort of like an epidemic that's happening. And the reason they're happening is because we have memory hunters. And when the hunting doesn't go well, if something goes wrong, if the process doesn't go well, or if the memories try to escape, they become hollow ghosts. I have this horrible feeling they don't even realize their memories. Like they have no idea what's happening, hence why they're so angry and haunting people. Which brings us to our memory hunters, who are a mix of human and non-human. And then so we've established that once you take a memory out from someone, that's it. Like it's completely removed from the person and it can be sold on the black market, which also means elemental memories are rare and high grade because we as elementals have lived for a long time, for generations, most of us. Like we still remember what animals look like when they were animals. We still remember what the trees and the city and earth looked like before that happened. It's very Blade Runner. It's that moment of the rain, And last but not least, we have marginalized communities forced into violence. So we have a significant group of people who are resisting what the city or Corp is forcing on us. These marginalized folk are trying to preserve their traditions, their knowledge base, their way of life. They use some form of the undernet. They're passing it person to person, completely bypassing the connections, the internet that the Corp and the city have forced on the rest of us. So this is the place we are starting in. It's not the most cheery place, but it's ours. It's what we make of it. So let's start off with, I would like to have everyone start off with where we are now currently. Like, do we want it to be our hideout, or is it just like something that's semi-permanent, like it's only for now? Or is this already where Reina is going to start building her school? Like, how do we feel about it?
Sorry, ask that one more time. I had gotten a momentary distraction.
No, it's okay, no problem. So we're gonna start off with our hideout. So my question is this
Okay.
a permanent hideout, or is this like where Reina is going to start building her school? So this is something more permanent for our elementals who are on the run.
I don't think it's a permanent hideout. I think it feels permanent because we've probably been at this particular one the longest, but it's like, no, we need to find somewhere else better. But occasionally Reina will bring in like certain students and like, okay, well, we'll just here for a little bit, kind of like those temporary classrooms they have at like, colleges and such kind of feeling.
Right. So do we want to put this, because I'm looking at what we've described for the city, do we want this to be part of that place where they have unexploded ordinances of the huge robots? Do we want to put it in the abandoned apartment? Do we have something
I
else
really
in
like
mind?
the idea of it being in one of the unexploded ordinances.
Yeah, shall we go for it?
Yeah.
It's a huge bomb just right in the middle of our hideout.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So so what I'm envisioning is there's something of a community here. I do feel like the community has been protecting you and has been helping you, but there's only like a couple of dozen of them. Most of them are human. Most of them are from the marginalized community that we've established. Also, by the way, feel free to interrupt me at any time, right? To add something or change something. Nothing is sacred. I'm just making stuff up. Right? So,
You mean you haven't planned this all out, like from point A to point Z?
no, I just know how to pretend I do. I just have a very good poker face. But yeah, so I sort of feel like maybe these marginalized communities have, like some of them have very distinct features. Others have learned how to blend in with the city so that they're not targeted. And so we have like a really huge bomb that's really old. Like it's older than most people here. The war was generations ago. And we also have this really, I kind of like the idea of this huge robot. Like it's like 4 or 5 stories high. That's kind of like, it's like sleeping on the bomb. And then some of the children come by and they're like climbing on the robot, and the robot sleepily starts to wake up. Its eyes like blink open, going online. Right. So I'd like us to go around and tell me what your character is doing in this temporary refuge of ours, or if you want to describe what else is going on in the refuge, please feel free. How about we start with, I'm going to give Bethany a break because we keep starting with our TIKBALANG. I feel like I want to start with Reina instead, our duende. What's Reina up to?
I think I still haven't come up with a name for her, but like my artisan, my aliens artisan, has come to me.
Maybe we should just call her Allie, like it's short for aliens.
Yeah, that works, Allie.
Okay.
And it's like A11I, yeah, because gotta love the old school elite speak. And I think she's come up like maybe some rumor she's heard about some pre-colonial tech that's like out in the like the borders of the city and everything. And I think at this point I'm in my true form because we're in the hideout, so I feel like there's no reason to be in my human form. So I'm a shape of dazzling drones, and I think I'm in like a hummingbird type of shape, just like listening to her, but just kind of flitting about in the area.
Yeah. And I'll say that Allie is when she comes in, so she has like that bird nest hair, neon colored. I feel like the hair changes depending on her mood. So right now it's just like a cool cyan, but the very edges are kind of fuchsia, like she's building up, she's getting excited. And she talks in a voice that I feel like you're one of the few people who can understand her, because she talks so quickly and she mumbles. Most people can't understand what she's saying. And she's saying, yeah, look what I found. Yeah, like it's just like gibberish coming out basically. And oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just agreeing. Yeah.
Where do you think this conversation is taking place? Like, is there a tent that's set up, or is it out in the open?
Um, I think it's like it was one of those buildings that like on one side had like a bunch of balconies, and so like one of the ways to get access is to like kind of climb the balconies, like parkouring it. So I'm like I'm still in the inside a bit, so I could be hidden, but she had just like climbed over and like catching her breath as she was telling me. So like
Yeah, she hasn't even stopped to breathe yet. She's already talking.
yeah.
Okay, very cool, very cool. And so let's shift our perspective, our camera, next to our saint. So, what is Eduardo doing here in the refuge?
He's leading a meditation class. Everybody's sitting in the lotus position. He's not wandering around to make sure people are in the proper form, or that their backs are straight, or that their legs are crossed precisely the right way, or anything like that. He's just talking to people and explaining this is a way you can breathe to help reduce your anxiety, to help reduce your stress levels. This is something that you can do when everything around you seems to be falling apart. You can control this, if nothing else. And if you can control that, you'll find other things that you're capable of controlling. Close your eyes and breathe.
I want to say really quickly, I feel like Puckett should really record like a guided meditation. It's like so perfect, the voice. But yeah, so my question for you is, who is Eduardo surprised to see at this class?
Honestly, someone who's able-bodied. He's not used to that. And I think it might be someone from his distant past that he recognizes.
Oh, but does this person recognize Eduardo? Or does Eduardo look too different nowadays?
I have a sneaking suspicion that they came to see Eduardo specifically. But
Okay.
nothing's important enough to interrupt this meditation class.
Right.
They
So they
can wait.
walked in. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and describe aspects of them. Like, so when right before the class started, you saw them in the background, just sort of watching. They had something like a cloak on, right? So you can, their eyes are like sort of shadowed, and they're always just smoking the cigarette that's caught by the light and hiding most of their face. But when you start the class, they very calmly, very politely put out the cigarette, put it away properly, and they take a spot by the back. But the thing is, as they do, they're just watching you the whole time. Like, their eyes never leave you. It feels like they don't blink, and you can see their eyes sort of glowing in the hood that they've put over their face. But you recognize them, and I feel like we're going to get into that shortly after. Does that feel good for you? Like to go into, yeah. So we'll go around everyone first. Yeah, but I definitely want to see what this person wants, how they think you can help them. And then so let's next go to our SANTELMO. So how is she doing? How is our sad girl doing?
Well, when you're a sad girl, you're drawn to places that can be really sad. That's what a statement. So I think she's at where the bomb is, or the unexploded ordnance.
Of course, like a moth to the flame.
Of course. I think this room is like, it's miraculous how it hasn't exploded, given it kind of like penetrated to so many like floors. It's actually quite, it's at the ground floor, and this is like a fairly tall-ish building, and so I think they've kind of like, they decided to not repair the hole, so like it's almost like you can go up to like the roof, although they've covered up the roof in case rain comes along. But like the room that it's in, it's I would say it's not sealed off. It's like it's fairly open. I think they've kind of like widened out the room, so like they've knocked down some of the walls so that they've opened it up, so like if in case it explodes. Um, um, and I think there's like it's almost like it's like this weird like sort of memorial sort of place.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I think this is where like they bring out. Uh, there's like a couple people here who kind of like just mingling around. There's like around the walls that they built up around it. There's like drawings, like carvings, whatnot. There's not like there's. I don't think they allow electronic stuff around here. One, because it might set off the bomb, and two, it's just nice to have this place feels a bit more tactile. Like there's chalk drawings. People have used up what little paper there is around because who needs paper in a cyberpunk universe? That's just weird. To make drawings or whatnot. There is probably like a guard. There's like obviously there's guards at the entrance, but I think Marisol just like slips in because she's barely noticeable in her big coat and her weird glasses.
Yeah. In fact, I feel like the guards, one of them sort of sees you and knows better. They just look in the other direction.
Marisol probably has her hands in her pockets, but she sees the guard notice her and she like pulls up like it's just a small wave and just a small wave. Also, she's gloved as well, like you can see like she's human, like she's got a head. But another statement. Like her
someone is a set of drones, so I think it's fair to say you have a head. Like to clarify, that's okay.
That's fair. Yeah, and I think she like sees the weapon. I guess the bomb. It's more like for some reason I'm imagining a giant bullet.
Ooh,
It's just embedded into the ground, like tip first. It's like it's smashed to the ground, but for some reason, like something inside it just didn't click, so it didn't explode. So it's like this big, impractical, like bullet-shaped, like cylinder. It's kind of like just a tip. It's like the capsule, and you can tell even though there's drawings around it, and there's like small like candles around it. People give it a wide berth. There's like a lot of space between like the walls and the drawings and the bomb itself. And Marisol kind of like just watching that, and she can feel like the walls are thin around this place. There's a possibility. There's always is. And I think she can she can help herself, but like just walk a bit closer to the bomb.
Right. And so my question for you is, you've been coming here for a while. There is one ghost in particular who always seems to hang around here, but they refuse to interact with you. What do they look like?
I think they look lean and well built. They look they've got like sort of camo gear on. They look like a soldier. They look like they look dirty and kind of like messy, like someone who's been sleeping on rocks and sand for a good number of months. I think they've got like these like protective goggles on their neck, and like their hair's all tousled up, and it's full of like grit and dirt. And they've got this like flak jacket on. And yeah, they're always here. Oh no! Oh, I guess I got to go. Yeah, and I think at first Marisol like didn't let that get to her. Like ghosts aren't obligated to have to talk to her. But there comes a point where like when you're kind of like full of stories, you notice you know when you sniff one out, and this person has a story.
Yeah. Before we go shift the camera to our TIKBALANG, do you want to try to get the story out of this particular ghost?
Yeah. I guess it's a. Ooh, let me look at these moves. I don't have a token, so I can't look at the strong ones. I think it's like a neutral move. It's like find the fragment of a secret.
Yeah, I feel like that is absolutely accurate here. Do you have an idea for what this fragment is, or would you like me to supply one?
My own idea is how she does it. How she sniffs out this fragment. And I think what it is just like she kind of like sees the ghost and kind of like sighs, and it's like, I'd like to talk to you, but we can do that later. And I think what she does is like she reaches up to like her right hand and kind of like her gloves have like these portions so it can go fingerless. So and I think what it does is like she pops off like the tip of her right pinky, and like the camera doesn't see what's underneath the glove, but like I imagine she's kind of like become a beacon for this like ghosts, and if she like reveals enough herself, then she can like let let the spirit possess her or something. But it's only a pinky, so it's only a fragment.
Ah, okay. So that's why you're only getting a fragment of the secret.
Mhm.
Yeah. So like when you do that, there's this sense because the ghost the whole time has just keeps looking at the bomb, like they won't tear their eyes away from it. But the moment you do that, you release that beacon, you can feel them slowly start to turn their head, and then it flickers for a moment, and suddenly they're next to you. And they look at your hand, and then they place their hand like near yours, like their hand is shaking, and then they pull back and flicker again, and then they're next to the bomb again, like they sort of had to stop themselves from fully reaching out. But in that moment, what you see is a fragment of someone placing a ring on their finger and saying, "When you return home, my love."
I think Marisol kind of like wraps the glove back into place, and she kind of like whispers almost to herself like, "It's okay. You can tell me the rest. I've heard them all."
And the ghost shifts back and forth, like they're uncomfortable with the idea, but they look at you, and there's a voice that comes through, because some of the ghosts don't talk directly. Some of them just a voice filters through in your mind, and they just show you images, and all you can hear through the voice is regret, one last time, regret, just more time, regret, I shouldn't have said no. And then there are just flashes. There are just flashes of someone waiting and knowing. And then the last word they say to you is help, help, help. And you can recognize it. This is right before a hollow ghost starts to go, like before that virus sets in. And you can tell the ghost is fighting it, like they're trying to make sure they don't go violent. And then they pull back near the bomb and they stop talking.
Ooh. All right. So I have an idea for a weak move, but I'll let someone else have a scene. first.
Sure. So we'll come back to that. We have some juicy scenes. I just want to check in real quick with Puckett. How are we doing, Puckett?
I am here. Had a connection glitch a few seconds ago, but otherwise here.
Cool. Okay, thank you so much for joining us again. And then let's go to our TIKBALANG. What is our TIKBALANG up to in our refuge?
So like in the corner of a room, there's just a cat curled up sleeping, except it's like 5 times the size of a house cat because, hey, I don't remember the details of how big they were.
Oh God, that's such a good point.
I just know what they looked like. I don't know. So like it's a house cat, like bigger than a bobcat. But yeah, I don't know the difference. So it's like kind of just, curled up, looks like it's sleeping, but the ears are twitching, and like where the kids are climbing up the robot, there are these little lizards going ahead of the kids, and they're following. They spot them, and they're following them around on the robot. And what Ava is doing is basically keeping the kids occupied so that they don't like burst in on Eduardo's meditation class.
Aw. Right. So you're helping them stay focused.
Yeah, like just distracting them away from that, because like otherwise they're just gonna like run through and play pranks on the people who are trying to meditate, and it's gonna be a big thing. And yeah,
I mean, that in itself is actually kind of a form of Zazen meditation, but you know,
playing pranks on people trying to meditate.
well, I'm just thinking about like, you know,
make it more of a challenge.
Yeah, like hollow kitties running through and like rubbing up against people and purring.
It's like goat yoga. You don't pay attention.
I was
to the
about to
goats.
say goat yoga. I was about to bring it up. I was about to bring up goat yoga. We are truly connected. So my question for you for our TIKBALANG is, who is the latest spirit guide that has reached out to you through the internet, and what are they doing in your room?
So someone here has reached out.
Yeah, but they could just be chilling, like true spirit guide style. They may not be demanding anything. They're just like hanging out like a force ghost. Like,
okay, let's see. So, yes, like we already had a ghost, so that's boring. I keep going after Leandro and being like, well, can't use that.
Oh no, so sorry. We can have more
it's fine.
ghosts than a classic
That's
ghost.
all right. That's all right. No, but tragic ghosts. There's enough of those. I think we're gonna have plenty of those. I don't need to contribute any. It is spirit. Yeah. So okay, I have to confess, I am not too clear on what the whole spirit guide, what they are.
Sure. Okay, that's a really good question. So, just for like some clues, because like really the answer is like it's up to you, right? Because as the TIKBALANG, you should be telling me really. But just to give you some clues, for example, if you use Spirit Speak, you can open channels to the spirit realm that survive Earth's downfall. You can create a ritual so that you can talk to an animal spirit guide, right?
Okay.
So if you want, it could be more animalistic. It could be like an anthropomorphic animal situation. It could be like someone who's like half cat, half human. Or it could be like anyone that you feel would be wise who would help you, right? Because so like as your GM, like what I'll offer you for our story is when all the animals died, when a lot of the earth died, they were like hanging around for a long time in this limbo, and somehow with the spirit realm, with the work of the previous TIKBALANG, you were able to save a lot of them, but only in this form, right? In this like spirit form, in this like the remnants of the internet form.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, in that case, it's something that used to live in this like where we are right now. A long time ago, like before the war. Before not before it was a city, but it's it was a much less populated city, not because everyone got wiped out with war. It was smaller, then it got bigger, then it got smaller again. But it was a pet bird that someone had. It wasn't even from here. And it got loose one day and flew out of their house and like lived for years and years in the city. And it it got a literal bird's eye view of this city, and it knew all the little nooks and crannies. So I think that I've been communicating with this little bird ghost as a way, like, I can't really spy on the city as it is, but like now, but I know what it used to look like, and I know where things are that have been there that long and have, they've changed, but they're still there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that it's really nervous of your cat form. Like it just keeps like it remembers what cats were like, and this one's really big.
Yeah, I think that finally occurs to me after trying to talk to it for a while. Like, oh right. And then I like shift back to like the human form.
Sure. So when you do that, it like looks visibly like like its little shoulders relax a little bit, and yeah, but it was like a brightly colored, like it was really a bird of paradise kind of situation. Like it was brought in.
Yeah.
It was like an exotic species back then. So it's a very beautiful bird. Yeah, but it looks at you and then it sort of like cocks its head, and it keeps trying to talk to you, but it's a little nonsensical, right? Like it remembers what humans taught it over the years. But yeah, so is there anything else you want to do with the scene before we shift over to?
No, not really. I think I think I'm just kind of hanging out, talking to ghost birds and making virtual lizards for kids to chase.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's a very chill moment for you right now. And then so what I would like to do is to focus on Puckett. For our saint, for Eduardo and Reina, I kind of want to like bring in these two scenes together. So Ali looks at Reina and suddenly stops talking, and she rarely stops talking, right? Like
right.
Even when she eats, she keeps trying to talk. And so for a moment, you don't know what the silence is about. And Ali turns to look at the person who's part of the meditation circle, who you haven't seen before, and who you can recognize. Like you can just sort of feel how they're so focused on Eduardo. And Ali looks at you, and they finish climbing, because they didn't even finish climbing all the way in before they started talking. So now they climb the rest of the way in to where you are, and then Ali like sort of like tries to hide in the drones, like uses you as a way to like hide her, and she says, what are they doing here?
Those are just his students, and the hovering, like the hummingbird uses its wings to like do like the quote.
Yeah.
Because Reina doesn't really understand the whole meditation thing. It doesn't make any sense to her. And everything's like, yeah, those are just his students. They're learning to stay still, which why would anyone want to stay still?
Yeah. But this person, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I feel like, and you sort of recognize it. This is not the first time you've seen it. It's a symptom of someone who's had a memory removed. Like when they try to remember it, that part, like there's a part of the brain that tries to like, it keeps hitting a wall and they don't realize that they're forgetting it. And you have a feeling it's connected to that person.
I think like, yeah, I think part of me, like, since I'm just drones and everything, like try to subtly analyze that person while also analyzing Ali. And it's like, maybe some water would be good for you. I think we still have some water left. And let me see the moves.
Sure. And Ali says, water, right, that's good. Water is for drinking. Yes, water is a good idea. And she like picks up a watering can that's for the plant. She completely misses the glass and the pitcher, and she starts drinking from the watering can instead.
I'm just like, okay, like that doesn't bother me at all.
But yeah, is there any move that's calling out to you?
Yeah, because I can only do neutral or weak at the moment, right?
At the moment, yeah. Though you always have access to your elemental magic in case you want to.
I like
but it'll just become a neutral version of it.
Right. I mean, she seems. Is it just the whole like her not remembering, or her seeming a little scared? also.
Ah. The sad thing is that every time she's about to get scared of this person, that's when the lack of the memory surfaces.
Okay.
So you know that the reason why she's scared has been
Yeah.
removed from her memories. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like most of us, we are not very obviously fond of the mind hunters, so I think I get a little protective. So I think I just automatically do my not another step where I'm like, okay, no matter what, I want to make sure Allie stay like this is a safe haven. This is supposed to be, and if she doesn't feel, even if she doesn't remember why she doesn't feel safe right now. So I think what I do is like I break off into two. Still as a hummingbird for Allie, and then I think I kind of emulate what Ava is, but like so like a stalking cat and like prowl as drones prowling around, avoiding like the usual of the meditation people that I've recognized, like, oh, they come here all the time for Eduardo, and like kind of like go towards that smoking person.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't even occur to me to like go to Eduardo first because I'm in protector mode.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so just to read it out for everybody else. So not another step, set down protocols of protection. So you told me that you are protecting Allie against what she's
This
afraid
person.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And so since we established this as a neutral move, I feel like what's going to happen is you'll sense that there's something off. You'll sense that there's an immense amount of magic that's just radiating off this person. Like it's almost like there's this thrum. So as you activate, as you get into, you start to see things and sense things. There's this thrum of pure magic that's just crashing out of them like an ocean against the cliff. You can feel how powerful this person is, but you can sense this is not a power that they own. This is a power that they took from several people. You can sense that there's like there's no sense of true ownership, no sense of connection. You can sort of see in your mind how these different sets of powers have been attached to this person forcibly, right? So we're going to like shift. So now we're like near Eduardo. So Eduardo, do you remember who this person is? Do you have a feeling of who they are?
If I'm right, it's Caesar. And I remember enough about them to know that I'm not happy that they're here.
So you don't remember everything, just enough.
It's like parts of my memory that were associated with them have gone missing. I think Jamie froze up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. All right. Hopefully, it's just another internet glitch.
I mean, the recording seems to be continuing.
Yeah, I think recording will continue for a while, and then it'll just shut off if the host is gone. I'm not sure.
This adversary is too strong for Jamie.
Aw.
Oops.
There they go.
I mean, just think about what we threw together with all these interruptions and internet service and whatnot. Think about what we could have done if we'd had like that extra half an hour.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm so surprised we did so much, but yeah, we had like an extra half hour. We could.
Well, it'll be a nice setup for next week.
Yeah.
And if we'd had an extra half an hour, we probably would have started a revolution already.
Yes. Yeah, I'm too protective. I'm like, ah.
Yeah. Now I just stayed sad at the basement.
Do we need a basement for your sad little goth girl?
No, because she'll find sadness wherever she goes.
Or maybe a garret with black curtains?
You should have seen Leandra's characters in the Good Society game moaning about French cheese.
Hey, look, that game had a farce tone.
But you were
There's
still
nothing-
so super like Batman, like about these guys bringing in cheese at the wharf.
Yeah, it was meant to be silly. Like the idea of a Regency superhero wondering about how these heathens are bringing in French cheese.
Because our nemesis apparently is the French.
I didn't make that up. It was everyone else. I just rolled with it.
I mean, you give me a choice between Emmentaler and Brie, and I'm going to go with Emmentaler. So
I'm gonna go with Brie. How dare you? Especially Saint Andre Brie. Saint Andre Brie is the love child of butter and cream cheese.
Ooh.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah, if you,
Oh my
if you ever
gosh,
get a
Brie.
chance to have Saint Andre Brie, I recommend it.
So we're just talking
Hold on,
about.
hold on. No, that's okay. I'm just shocked that it's still streaming properly. It's still recording even though I left. Okay. For those who are watching the recording, I have been attacked by the lack of internet and they disrupted the power earlier. Anyway, and it's always like when Puckett's really getting into something good. Like I was like, yes, I'm so into it. Yes, and then okay, so yeah, I think we just have a few more minutes. Once again, if anyone needs to, we have the open door policy. So Puckett, the last thing I heard, Eduardo, there's like fragments of a memory, and you're about to tell me. I'm sure other people know already, but I don't. Like, what the
Actually,
fragments are.
I think it cut out at about that point. And
Okay.
wait,
Okay.
did you? Yep, she froze up. So. Yeah, so basically, what I remember about him is that I remember enough to know that I'm probably lucky to not remember the rest, but I also am not that happy to see him.
Ooh, okay. And so in this moment, so as you're meditating, like you can still feel it, you're focusing, but you can sense Reina taking on her protective magics. You know what that feels like. All of you are connected in some way that you can feel when one of you is activating your elemental magic, basically. And so when you sense that and you can sense how it's responding to this person who is here, do you continue the meditation? Like, how does Eduardo handle the situation?
Well, let me ask you this. What essential truth am I not seeing?
Okay. So this is your weak move. Okay, so go ahead and throw in that token. The essential truth that you're not seeing is that all the little gods in the area have become agitated. And in particular, it's the little god that is inside of the huge slumbering robot that's becoming agitated. Like you can sense that there's something that is trying to undo the hacking to keep the robot dormant and to keep it what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's not a threat, basically.
Okay. What are the little gods whispering about?
The little gods are whispering. There's a particular god. There's a little god that is hardly active in this area, and it slithers on the ground like a snake, and it shines many iridescent colors, and it's small, and it speaks in this soft voice, the little god of fear. And the little god says, I sense power. I sense someone who knows what to do with fear. I will help you if you give them to me. And you can sense that this little god of fear is asking for this stranger who's not a stranger in particular.
Well, from what I remember of Caesar, I didn't like them much anyway. So I will invite that little serpent god to use my body for a while.
Oh, yes. Okay. So go ahead and add that token as well. If I'm not mistaken, it's a weak move. So this is where we establish as player and GM, what would you be more comfortable as? Playing out the little god of fear, or me doing it, or a mix of the both?
I think it'd be more interesting if you played that little god of fear.
Sure. Okay. But at any time, let me know. We can pause or shift things.
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like when you open yourself up to a little god?
My eyes glitch. Like it's almost like the cable goes out for a minute or two. Where there's a moment or two. It's like there's a little bit of static that you can see. Just like a little, and then my eyes are different.
Ooh, awesome. And then so the eyes sort of like take on this like snake eye form, and they sort of blink from the sides instead of like blinking normally. And you feel your body go limp. You feel your body start to sort of shift into something more relaxed. And you start stepping forward, and it's sort of like you're watching it's almost like, I'm going to compare it to my own real life. Like when I'm being a medium, it's kind of like you feel your consciousness being shifted to one side, and it's just making room for another, right? So both of you are in the body. And you can sense how this little god of fear is so excited because it's been such a long time it's had anything so powerful who knew how to wield that fear close.
I whisper to it, make sure to clear the room.
It makes a sigh. Yes. Even if it means a little less fear for me to sink my teeth into. And as he says it, you feel your teeth starting to grow a little bit. But yes. And then he takes on your voice and says, all right, class dismissed, whatever it is I say, and claps your hands for you. And everyone looks a little confused, and they move away. By this point, I feel like Reina recognizes that you also have your elemental magic starting up, can sense when the little god is within you. And at that point, the hooded figure in front of you steps forward, and you can see a smile flash, and they push down their hood, and they say, I've been waiting for a long time to finally see you with my own eyes. Eduardo, is that the name you're going by now? And before you can speak, the little god says, enough talking. It's time for me to feed on you. And then you feel your body like lurch, and your neck start to stretch out, and your body sort of like start to change into a snake. But my question is, Reina, what do you do? Are you going to allow this to happen, or?
I think I paused when I sensed that Eduardo was like opening his own magic. I was like, oh, thinking at first like they sense there's something off about this person too, and not realizing a little bit until too late. It's like, oh no, they let another little god in them again.
Like, oh no, not again.
Yeah. So she's conflicted because obviously this guy is frightening Allie, and we can't have that. But he's being attacked by technically not Eduardo. And that is confusing. So I think she just watches. Because yeah, like It's not attacking someone she knows and cares about. So
Yeah. I absolutely understand. Do you feel like this is enough to garner you giving into the fading and feeling a little mortal? Like, do you feel like you want to tie that in narratively? Like your protocols want to go in and do something, but you're sort of pulling back? Or do you feel like...
yeah, because I feel like more like a mortal would feel like in just being a spectator, like kind of thing, and going again. Yeah, like I want to see how this plays out, kind of thing.
Right, and you can
Oh.
feel the magic within you, like saying, "Now I want to rawr, do something." So
Yeah.
so go ahead and
Especially
get
'cause
that
it's such a
token.
huge magic that's like this
Mhm.
guy's been grafted
Mhm.
upon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so go ahead and get that token. And so what happens is, I think the other two are going to sense this, because like as soon as the snake god starts to really change the body of Eduardo and sort of like force this like snake like sense of power, what happens is Caesar says, "Yes, I like this. I want to see what else you can do, Eduardo. I think you have more in you." And they place a hand on Eduardo's chest, and then these... I'm gonna double check if we have a line in Veil for like... I'm just gonna checking my safety tab. Okay, no, we're good with spiders. Okay, and then so what happens is the back of Eduardo starts to open up, and these huge spider legs come out, right? Really embodying that fear, and the little god is confused and afraid, and you can feel how they feel like they are now the prey in this situation. And I think that's where we're going to stop on a cliffhanger. Is that okay with everybody? Does someone want to do something before we... Because I see Puckett like unmuted.
Everything that I can think of to do would make this not a cliffhanger. So I'm okay with stopping.
Yeah, if you're sure with that, if you're cool with that.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, because I want to make sure we have enough time to debrief and stuff. So,
Mhm.
So we're going to see what happens next. Diana won't be able to join us next time, but she'll be with us in the sessions after. So that's totally cool. That's fine. But I'll be talking to Diana, like, because since we ended on a cliffhanger and she was involved, we'll see how we can tie that in later. No problem. But for now, I think we're going to go ahead and end the recording. Thank you so much for everybody who's watching. I'm excited to see where the rest of this campaign takes us. Bye-bye.